So, what really destroyed Black Wall Street? I tell the truth. Before social media, you probably thought the only thing black in Oklahoma was the spots on the backside of a cow. But nowadays, in the social media era, we think we know everything about Black Wall Street. Due to the fact that this year, 2021, marked the 100-year anniversary of the Black Wall Street attack, or as I call 530. Just like they call 9/11/11, the Black Wall Street attack, in my opinion, was 530. So now most black people believe they know everything that there is about Black Wall Street, what it was, what it wasn't, and how it was destroyed. Here's what you might think. You might think that about 100 years ago, a group of very educated, very rich, Cosby Show black folks all came together and chose, out of all places, Tulsa, Oklahoma, to build some black mecca in the middle of nowhere. You probably thought they were already rich and living their best life, and then one day some mean old rednecks came with guns, and since they were unarmed and didn't have any guns, they were just overran, and Black Wall Street was destroyed to never be seen again. The end. Right?
Wrong, 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 wrong.
The truth of the matter is, many of the founders of Black Wall Street were largely uneducated, poor. For example, O.W. Gurley, who was a self-taught, self-educated entrepreneur who set up shop in Perry, Oklahoma. He actually opened up a store, and upon making enough money from that store, he moved to North Tulsa, Oklahoma. He bought a plot of land, a rooming house, and then he invited black people from throughout the South who were former slaves and former sharecroppers to come and join him in an economic build of a small black mecca. And while the founding residences of Black Wall Street were largely uneducated and even poor, they were, however, extremely skilled and hardworking. And they helped to build Black Wall Street through exclusive black economics. I'm going to say that again. Exclusive black economics. What is that? Exclusive black economics is when you, for whatever reason, only spend your money in the blackest way possible in your community. And after that, Black Wall Street went from O.W. Gurley's dream to quote unquote Negro Wall Street in less than a decade. And that's how the so-called mom and pop businesses of Black Wall Street transformed into empires. They didn't do what we do today. Today we spend 98% with Caucasian-owned businesses. They didn't go to the white side of town and give them 98% of their hard-earned money and then come back to Greenwood and hand off the change like it's a charity to black-owned businesses. So how was Black Wall Street destroyed? Well, it wasn't by a riot, it was an attack. It wasn't by an attack. It wasn't by bombs being dropped by the U.S. government. All those things happened. There was an attack. There was a riotous situation. But that's not what destroyed Black Wall Street. Not by a long shot. Let me prove my point. I know you thought that those mean old rednecks just came to town with their guns and just destroyed everything. That was the time where I thought that too. Well, what's wrong with that picture is, first of all, when they did attack with their guns, the black people in Black Wall Street had guns too. It was essentially the Wild Wild West. Come on, people. In fact, check this out. The revival of Black Wall Street began almost immediately after its burning. Yeah. By the end of 1921, Greenwood residents had rebuilt more than 800 structures in the neighborhood. By June 1922, virtually all of the area's homes had been replaced. And by 1925, the National Negro Business League was holding its annual conference in Tulsa, indicating that Black Wall Street's stature as an economic force had been restored. So since there was so much talk last year, 2021, about the anniversary of the attack, I wonder if there's going to be a celebration and a recognition of the anniversary of its rebuild in 2022. Don't hold your breath. Furthermore, more than 240 businesses populated the area by the early 1940s. Musicians such as Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington played in the neighborhood's largely popular jazz clubs. The destruction of Black Wall Street actually started somewhere around the 1950s, when there was a movement that was sweeping the nation, particularly the black nation, the Civil Rights Movement. And with all due respect for all those that struggled in that civil rights movement that started in around the 50s, notice how our focus was shifted from building our own empires, our own towns, our own businesses, our own schools, to suddenly sitting in, begging in white-owned cafes, retail stores, white-owned and white-operated restrooms, just for the opportunity to use the bathroom next to our Caucasian so-called fellow Americans. This is why the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad called integration in the Muslim program hypocritical. He even called it a hypocritical trick. So fast forward to 2022, and like I said, we spend about 98% of our discretionary income with the Caucasian, the descendants of the same Caucasians that attacked Black Wall Street in 1921. And if we're, for whatever reason, mistreated in their businesses, followed around the store, or just plain kicked out of their stores, we cry, we protest, and we think a grave injustice has been brought upon us. And that 2% of the time where we go and spend 2% of our money with black-owned businesses, and let's say they short us a pack of hot sauce, they give us one or two less fries than they promised they would give us, we say to ourselves and each other, see, that's why I don't deal with black-owned businesses. See, that's what really destroyed Black Wall Street. In fact, to this day, if you go to Greenwood Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a huge highway that was built that cuts clean across Greenwood Avenue that gives black people on the north side of Tulsa, Oklahoma, easy access to the other side of town so they can spend that 98%. But yet we wonder why we can't get justice from the Caucasian. Well, I'll put it like this. Why would a pimp ever give a prostitute justice when he knows that that prostitute will always come back to him at the end of the day with all the money that they worked so hard for? Just something to think about. I'm just your brother, Landon X, Nation Town TV, and this is Right Down to the Modern Times.